Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hey, if you guys wouldn't mind, this channel is getting up over close to 8,000 views, and we've only got 101 subscribers. So if you don't mind, if you could please just subscribe to the channel now or on your way out, it'd really be appreciated. Anyway, today we're going to be taking a look at a PlayStation 1 game, Rebel Assault 2. It's nothing new, it's a very old game, and if you're a Star Wars fan, it's pretty much a must-play. It doesn't do anything revolutionary. It is an FMV showcase. That's mainly the reason it has two discs, is because you're either a ship or you're an individual running through a pre-rendered FMV kind of background. You go between being in a ship and being on foot. The controls, ship-wise, are extremely floaty, and you have two views. You can either do cockpit view or behind the ship view. I strongly urge you, if you try this game, to always stick with the cockpit view. The controls are just so loose in the game. It's hard to target onto anything. Now, with like any game, the more and more you play it, the easier and easier it becomes. You kind of learn where to fire early and when to fire late and all that. But one of the biggest drawbacks to this game is when you're flying, you're a lot of times flying in caverns and going through minefields and stuff like that. The hit detection is horrible. I mean, you can be a mile away from stuff and it will still detect you as being hit and your shield will go down. Also is when you're going through an area and you're in the cockpit view especially, you have a reticle. So that reticle, you're moving it around, shooting mines, shooting enemy ships and all that. But you also have to navigate through things, such as in one stage is like the asteroid field in Empire Strikes Back, where the Millennium Falcon's trying to escape the Empire. You're doing that, and you're flying through them asteroids and all that. But you also have to shoot mines. So you've got your reticle move to shoot the mine, but then also you're trying to navigate your ship through this stuff. So you're either going to push down on the controller to go over something, or you're going to have to move the cursor to shoot something, but you still have to use the control pad. So it's wanting you to use the control pad to do two different things at one time. It can be very frustrating in that respect, but if you're a Star Wars fan, if you love old school Star Wars before Disney got a hold of it and turned it into the abomination it is now, except the Mandalorian, you'll dig the game. You know, you go to all the classic locales of Star Wars. You're on Hoth a little bit. You're going through the asteroid fields, like I said. You've got a speeder bike sequence that controls terribly too. On Endor, all that. It's fun. With all its frustrations, if you're, in my age group, approaching 50 and you grew up with the classic Star Wars, it's a good time. It's cheap on the PS1. I don't know. I think I might have 12 whole bucks in it, but it's readily available too. It's just a good time. But like I say, you take everything I said into consideration with it. You're not going to get the best controlling game you've ever played. If you are a Star Wars nerd, you grew up on Star Wars and you love it, you'll dig the game. This is the second one of the series. The first one was out on the Sega CD. I have that one too. It's not near as good as the second one, but the game is done by Factor 5. Factor 5 is the one that came out with the great Rebel Assault series on the GameCube and such. So they know what they're doing, and they obviously perfected their craft with these two early Rebel Assault games. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling on about it. We'll take a look at some of the footage of the game, and you can see if it's a thing for you or not. Alright guys, as you can see here, we've got that little FMV sequence. Got your B-Wing flying in, all that jive. It looks good to be as old as it is. I still dig it. A lot of FMV action, like I said, a lot of pre-rendered backgrounds. But that's the back view I was telling y'all about. It looks atrocious. Other than just firing, playing the game from the cockpit perspective when flying is just generally, it makes the game a lot easier. This is the on foot stage, which is like the third person perspective. it's really the enemies just kind of keep coming out until eventually one of them quits coming out, and then you know you've cleared the area. That's pretty much how all these scenes are. Um, I think they're neat. I like how it's leaving like the bullet holes in the walls in the background and stuff. I don't know. It's a cool little sequence. These are the little parts you have in between completing each on foot thing. Shows you traversing from one room to the other. Of course, you've got the good old PlayStation load times there. This is just kind of more of the same. You have enemies that just keep coming out and replenishing. Of course, in this game, stormtroopers have a better aim and shot than they do in the movies. But same thing. You just kind of keep shooting them till one of them quits coming out, and then you start taking the other ones out. Um, Really, no kind of science behind it. These parts are kind of easy. They're just fun. Why the Millennium Falcon is in this scene, I do not know. Um, it makes no sense. There wasn't a whole fleet of those ships. They were one-offs of, Landos, from what I can gather from the movie. But regardless, it's still cool to fly it. This stage is probably the most frustrating stage on the whole stinking game. This ship pulls you into the walls like crazy. I mean, it's like your ship has a magnet on it, and it's insane. The level itself, dodging all the obstacles and such, isn't that difficult. It's just being pulled constantly and having to adjust for it. It's maddening. It's a true accomplishment when you make it past this. This stage, I think, just looks cool. I mean, I love the Superstar Destroyer and the Star Destroyer. How they pulled this from the movie. It looks good, too. Now, of course, they add dude in right here. But still, it's a seamless transition to me. I mean, I think it looks pretty good how they added him in. Vader's a big part of this storyline. And really the whole point of this whole game is just trying to gather the plans and learn about a secret TIE fighter that they're developing. Same old, same old. But it's pretty cool to see they use stuff from the movie in there. This is the asteroid scene I was talking about earlier. You're having to shoot those little blue mines that are coming up. But then also you're having to push your ship to the opposite direction at which the asteroids, meteorites, whatever they are coming at you. So it's very aggravating because you got to move your reticle, of course, to get around it, but then also at the same time you got to shoot the mines before they blow you up. This stage here is probably about my favorite. Those little red things going around those blue circles, I don't know what they are. They're some kind of barrier things. But anyway, you shoot all them out, and then it opens up that blue circle, and you can fly out of this level. There's like 3 of them per level, but you keep recycling through the level until you eventually shoot all those little red dots out from around one of the blue circles. It's not terribly difficult, and the level just keeps repeating until eventually you blow all those out of one of them, where you can fly out. Probably one of my more favorite stages on this game. I don't know why. It just looks good. It's fast paced. It's not infuriating. This is one that you can actually maneuver the ship through, and you don't hit everything all the time. But that's a fun little part. This one was the bane of my existence. I hate this stage. I do a decent little run right here, so it's kind of deceiving. I'm making it look a little bit easier than what it is. It's like the walls are magnetic or something. These ties get pulled into the side of the walls so easily. And this is where I was talking about the hit detection's terrible. I mean, you don't feel like you hit anything, but you do left and right. It's maddening. I mean, I absolutely, there's nothing I like about this stage. I hate it. Here, I don't know how in the world I even pulled half this off. Usually I'm crashing all into that, but I did a pretty decent run on it. But anyway, guys, appreciate you guys taking time out and checking this vid out. Like I said at the beginning, please, if you can, like and subscribe to the channel. We've got a ton of views, but not that many subs. Later.